आज मौलाना आज़ाद का जो बर्थडे का जो सेलिब्रेशन है, तो नेशनल एजुकेशनल डे का जो ऐलान किया था 11 साल पहले गवर्नमेंट ने, तो उस्मानिया यूनिवर्सिटी में ये लास्ट ईयर हम जब माइनॉरिटी सेल के डायरेक्टर बनने का शुरू किए थे, ये ख़ास ये है कि इसलिए पर्टिकुलरली यह फर्स्ट इंडियन एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर है। हालांकि एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर रहते हुए हायर एजुकेशन को जो बढ़ावा देने का जो बारे में यूनिवर्सिटी ग्रांट कमीशन को जो फॉर्म किया और इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ साइंसेस बेंगलुरु का जो संख्या और आईआईटी खड़गपुर कानपुर का जो इंस्टीट्यूशन स्टार्ट करे, जो हायर एजुकेशन जो विज़न था मौलाना आज़ाद का, जो हिंदुस्तान को जो आगे लेके जाने का, और एजुकेशन पॉलिसी जो थी जो पहले ग्लोबल से लेके पहले इंसानियत का बुनियाद डालते हुए एजुकेशन में, और ग्लोबल से लेके लोकल प्रॉब्लम्स तक, लोकल जियोग्राफिकल एंड पॉलिटिकल जो सिनेरियो जो पढ़ने का जो सिस्टम बनाया मौलाना आज़ाद ने, ये एक नुमाया है। इस सिस्टम को जो आगे बढ़ाते हुए आज तक हिंदुस्तान का जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम चल रहा है, और वो उसके याद करते हुए उनके और उन्होंने खाली सिर्फ एक एजुकेशन हिस्ट्री नहीं है, एक इस्लामिक स्कॉलर भी है। तकरीबन उन्होंने कुरान के बारे में कई तफसीरें लिखे गए, और ख़ास तौर पर अलम के सूरह पे सूरह फातिहा पे भी कितने की इस्लामिक तफसीरें लिखे। और उसके साथ साथ हिंदुस्तान के जितने भी आज एजुकेशन पॉलिसीज़ को जो बनाने के बेसिक फाउंडेशन जो है मौलाना आज़ाद डाले, और इस ख़ास तौर पे नेशनल इंटीग्रिटी को साथ नज़र में रखते हुए जो एजुकेशन पॉलिसी बनाया, वो आज की हिंदुस्तान और पूरे मुल्क में और बाहर में बैरूनी मुल्कों में इसका बहुत नुमाया एक्सेप्टेंस है। तो ये चीज़ को याद करते हुए नेशनल एजुकेशन डे मना रहे, और ये इसका आज उस्मानिया यूनिवर्सिटी में माइनॉरिटी सेल के तहत ये एजुकेशन डे मनाया गया, और इसमें कसीर तादाद में जो स्टूडेंट्स और एम्प्लॉइज़ अटेंड हुए, और इसका आइंदा हम ये उम्मीद करते हैं कि ये बड़े पैमाने पे तकरीबन 2-3 दिन का एक सेमिनार बनाने का एक रिजोल्यूशन पास किया गया है। ये बहुत अफसोस की बात है कि मौलाना आज़ाद के एक माइनॉरिटीज़ को लिंक करना और एक मुसलमानों को लिंक करना बहुत गलत बात है। लेकिन हालांकि मौलाना आज़ाद जो पॉलिसी बनाई है, नेशनल पॉलिसी में एजुकेशन पॉलिसी बनाई है, ये एक मुसलमानों को लिंक नहीं कर, ये पूरा हिंदुस्तानियों को और इंसानियत, पहली बार इंसानियत को नज़र में रखते हुए और हिंदुस्तान को नज़र में रखते हुए एक एक्सपोजर दिया गया। एजुकेशन पॉलिसी अगर देखा गया तो साइंटिफिक एजुकेशन के वास्ते IITs फॉर्म करने का एक नुमाया जो रिप्रेजेंटेशन था, और इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ साइंस बेंगलुरु का जो बनाया था वो, और उसके बाद पॉलिसी जैसे जियोग्राफिकली एंड पॉलिटिकली जो बाउंड्रीज है हिंदुस्तान के कैसा सीखना चाहिए, और वर्ल्ड के पहले वर्ल्ड का जो जियोग्राफी सीखना, उसके बाद हिंदुस्तान का सीखना, उसके बाद आप जो लोकल में रहते, जो एरिया में रहते, जो दिल्ली में रहो, हैदराबाद में रहो, कलकत्ता में रहो, बंगाल में रहो, जहाँ रहते वहाँ का एरिया के बारे में आपको मालूमात करने का से एजुकेशन पॉलिसी बना, इनको पूरा हिंदुस्तान को आम करना चाहिए। लेकिन एक मुसलमानों को लिंक करना हम बहुत अफसोस की ज़ाहिर करते हैं, और ये करना नहीं चाहिए। और मैं गवर्नमेंट से नुमाइंदगी कर चुका हूँ, और आप मीडिया की तरफ से मैं सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से नुमाइंदगी करता हूँ कि ये एक मुस्लिम को माइनॉरिटीज़ को लिंक नहीं किया जाए, ये हिंदुस्तान की एक एजुकेशन पॉलिसी को लिंक किया जाए, और मौलाना आज़ाद के एक नेशनल इंटीग्रिटी के जैसा देखना चाहिए, लेकिन एक रिलीजन, एक कम्युनिटी के बेस पे नहीं देखना चाहिए। एक्चुअल अमल तो मौलाना आज़ाद के नक्शे कदम पे चल रहा, लेकिन मौलाना आज़ाद को उसको रिप्रेजेंट नहीं, उसको अटैच नहीं कर रहे, उसको लिंक नहीं कर रहे, ये बहुत अफसोस की बात है। हालांकि आप जो पॉलिसी जो बता रहे हैं, आप देखें NCERT का बुक्स देखिए, आप ICSE का सिलेबस देखिए, CBSE का सिलेबस देखिए, पूरा सिलेबस आप टोटल के देखिए, जो पॉलिसी बनाए, जो पॉलिटिकल सीनरी रन दो, जोग्राफिकल रन दो, या जो डे टू डे लाइफ का जो सीन है, इस पॉलिसी जो देखिए आप, अगर स्टडी करें सिलेबस, तो ये मालूम होता है कि मौलाना आज़ाद जो फाउंडेशन डाले वही है। लेकिन अफसोस गवर्नमेंट जो है, मुसलमान अच्छा काम करे तो उसको लिंक नहीं करके कॉमन कम्युनिटी को लिंक नहीं करके इंडिपेंडेंट एक रिलीजन को कम लिंक करके एक कार्नर एक इंडियनाइजेशन नहीं करके एक मुस्लिम लीडर को कार्नर करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। मैं मौलाना को एक रोल मॉडल लेने के लिए मैं स्टूडेंट्स को अपील करता हूँ, क्योंकि उनके सोच, उनकी जो थिंकिंग है और जो एजुकेशनल एस्पेक्ट्स है, उनका जो स्टडी है, उन्होंने आज उस ज़माने में महात्मा गांधी भी उनके मशवरे के बगैर काम नहीं करते। हालांकि आज महात्मा गांधी को हम जाति पिता कहते हैं, लेकिन उनके मशवरे के बगैर, मौलाना आज़ाद के मशवरे के बगैर काम नहीं करते। आज इंडिपेंडेंट इंडिया के जो कांग्रेस के प्रेसिडेंट थे, उसके बाद उन्होंने जो जैसा कांग्रेस को आगे ले गया, तो कांग्रेस पार्टी के साथ हिंदुस्तान के इंडिपेंडेंट मूवमेंट को जो स्टार्ट किया गया 1857 के बाद, जो मुस्लिम उलमा स्टार्ट करने के बाद, इनके पैदाइश के बाद जो मूवमेंट को आगे बढ़ाए एक मुसलमान लीडर, यही एक पर्टिकुलरली नेशनल इंटीग्रिटी और विदाउट फीलिंग ऑफ अ कम्युनल प्रोसेस, दिस इज द वेरी सेक्युलर लीडर ऑफ द कंट्री। ये रोल मॉडल लेके चलना चाहिए और इनके जो भी टीचिंग्स है, इनका जो पॉलिसीज़ है, उसको हम आगे लेके बताना चाहिए, दुनिया को बताना चाहिए, हिंदुस्तान वालों को बताना चाहिए, गवर्नमेंट को बताना चाहिए कि इसके साथ नाइंसाफ यानी इंसाफ करने के लिए हम सब उसके साथ काम करना चाहिए। इसके बाद इसका जो आज ये बात सही बात है, क्योंकि आज के जो दौर में जो गवर्नमेंट चला रहे हैं, हम जो चीज़ हम देख रहे हैं, ख़ास तौर पे एक माइनॉरिटीज़ का जो एक लीडर बनता है, और ख़ास तौर पे एक सेकुलर लीडर और इंटीग्रेटेड लीडर को ऐसा कार्नर करे, ये कार्नर से हटा के हम उसको एक पब्लिक लीडर बनाना बोल के पब्लिक में हम लेके जाने की ज़रूरत है। लिहाजा हम इसके बारे में सोचना ज़रूरी है। इसके बारे में अपन एक मीडिया के थ्रू और एक आर्टिकल्स के थ्रू, एक रिसर्च के थ्रू इसको आगे बढ़ाना हमारी ज़रूरत है।
I'm very happy that TV 99 has come today to cover the most important proceedings that the Department of Linguistics and then the Department of Islamic Studies wanted to conduct, namely the National Education Seminar based on Abul Kalam Azad's birthday. I want to say three important things on this occasion. Number one, Azad Saab is a freedom fighter. He fought for the unity of India. He looked at India, as Bharat, not in terms of Muslims, not in terms of Hindus, not in terms of Christians, not in terms of Sikhs, but all of us joined together as Indians, as Bharatvashi. So we must be grateful to him for this great vision, which he shared along with other great national leaders of India. And then we must try to show our respect to Maulana Azad Sahab by conducting seminars, by doing research, by implementing programs to foster this kind of unity. Osmania University is a center of learning, and it has got excellent departments. It has got many languages departments and also a very well-known linguistics department. So I appeal to the head of the Department of Linguistics and the other heads of languages departments to translate all the important ideas in their cultures, in their societies, and then bring about the common feature of Indianness. Bharatiyata ko laake सबको मिलाना है, एक नया संस्कृति, as my friend has just pointed out, एक नया संस्कृति लाना है जिसमें हम सब एक हैं और एक ही रहेंगे और एक ही होकर हमने प्रगति पाएंगे. That is number one. Number two, another very important thing that we have to take note of is the modern advancement in technology, in science and technology. For example, Maulana Azad Sahab is instrumental as the first education minister to have started scientific institutions, be it the Indian Institute of Technology at Kharagpur or be it the Indian Institute of Science at Bangalore. So now let's make India a scientific India, a rational India, an India based on scientific principles that will protect our morality and then make us feel proud of ourselves by bringing prosperity and destroying poverty. Education is the backbone of progress. Education is the backbone for prosperity. And Maulana Azad Sahab has this vision. He looked at India as a whole in a secular perspective. And so let's follow his ideal, and we as his inheritors try to build up on what he dreamt. Progress is a continuous process. You continue where the other one stops. So I appeal to the Osmania University authorities to conduct symposia, to conduct lectures, and to organize some workshops and important programs to cherish his name, to continue honoring him for what he did. And I'm very sure that the Department of Linguistics, along with other departments, as well as the university authorities, will do something in this connection. Thank you very much.
First,
Actually, my name is Dr. Kaushik Sarkar. I am Deputy Director of Mine Safety Medical. Basically appointed as Medical Inspector of Mines for South Central Zone based at Hyderabad. Basically what we in our department is Director General of Mine Safety. Our department enforces Mines Act and other mines legislations, basically for enforcing safety and health provisions for the mine employees. I look after the health part. I am basically a medical inspector who enforces health and medical provisions as stipulated in the legislation for the employees working in the mines. Employees includes all kinds of employees, starting from the casual worker up to the general manager. Except owner, everybody we treat as employee. Basically, I look after the health issues related to the work. That is, the people during their occupation, during working in the mines or associated industries, they come across any health related issues, any health problems, how to analyze the hazards, how to minimize the hazards, how to screen the employee who are subjected to the hazards, how to diagnose their diseases, and once diagnosis, how to treat them earliest, and when treated, how to adequately compensate and rehabilitate them. This is basically our comprehensive aspect of our job. And there is, Government of India has legislated certain acts called Mines Act and certain rules and regulations in this regards. As per the stipulations of the legislations, we enforce the laws related to the health and safety. I, being medical inspector, I look after the health aspect. To the health, actually, safety and health has got a very thin boundary. When we talk about safety, it is basically prevention of injuries and protection of the property. When we talk about health, it is prevention of illnesses. So the causative factors which increases the potential to harm human being is basically the hazard. Now hazard can cause injury, hazard can cause illnesses. Hazards which causes injury we called safety risk. Hazards which are causing illnesses we called health risk. I mainly look after the health risk. Try to analyze them, try to minimize them. If cannot minimize, how to protect employees from those hazards, and then medical surveillance, medical treatment, and finally rehabilitation and compensation as provided in our law of the land. And government, whenever government enact any law, any act, government constitutes a department for enforcement of that law. For example, we have Motor Vehicle Act. We have the RTA, Regional Transport Authority, for implementation of that. Government has enacted Factories Act. Government has constituted a Directorate of Factories for enforcement of that. Similarly, government has enacted Mines Act. Under Mines Act, there are several regulations called coal mines regulations, metal mines regulations, oil mines regulations, mines rules, mines vocational training rules, mines rescue rules, mines crash rules, etc. For enforcement of this group of laws, government has constituted a department which is called Directorate General of Mine Safety. It is under Government of India, Ministry of Labour and Enforcement, Labour and Employment. So I am a part of that department. I look after the health issues. I'm appointed as a group medical inspector. And I enforce the medical provisions of all these laws for prevention of health issues for employees working in the mines.
Apart from conducting camps, is there any enhanced training to the employees in the mining sector?
Exactly.
They can
It is. Employees are given training in the mine premises. Normally that is being organized by the respective employees. We facilitate, we promote those activities, safety trainings, then health awareness camps, then awareness regarding the health hazards. For example, there is a hazard called dust. How to prevent them from the dust? What are the ways that dust generation can be minimized? Whenever there is a dust, how to protect the employees from the dust? What are the personal protective equipments? What will happen to the employees if not protected from the dust? All these awareness programs we conduct. Basically, we facilitate the employers, respective companies to do that, but we facilitate. Our department has got a facilitation cum promotional activities for doing that.
how the employee feedback is conducting camps and organizing such kind of programs with them to might be you people get the feedback from
Yes.
the employees.
Initially, let me see, to be very frank, this was in our country, this was a neglected area in comparison to the developing countries.
Yeah.
In our country, general feeling is that whatever in front of us, let us deal with that. For example, there is an accident, people are suffering, bleeding in front of us, we'll attend them first. But maybe by doing that, we are just protecting 2, 3 or a group of people. Health issues are such issues, it takes long time, but in due course, maybe hundreds and thousands people are affected. But our mind, our concern does not go towards that because it is not happening suddenly. It is not coming as a big blow to us. It is happening gradually. So in our country, always health issues are put behind, get little less priority. But now things are looking up. People have become more aware. Awareness level has come up. So people are becoming more concerned about health issues. Earlier, when you used to talk about the health issues to the worker, they used to say, "साहब पहले जिंदा रहेंगे तब ना, पहले कमाएंगे तब ना, जब कमाएंगे नहीं तो हेल्थ रह के क्या करेंगे?" They did not think कि अगर हेल्थ ही नहीं रहेगा कमा के क्या करना है. So we used to put that in our mind. अरे भाई जिंदा नहीं रहोगे तो कमाओगे किसके लिए और पैसा लेके क्या करोगे? Earlier they used to think other way around. कि ठीक है जिंदा है हेल्थ अच्छा है लेकिन कमा नहीं पाएंगे तो क्या फायदा. So we used to put in their head कि first is health. Nothing is bigger asset than health. Once you are protected health wise, then only you can earn, you can look after your family and you can live much more happier. So now that awareness level has gone up, but still we have got a long way to go.
In developed nations, we have IOSH, NICOSH, OSHA, some
Yes,
kind of
yes.
awarding bodies with fire and safety and
Yeah,
all, health,
yeah.
HSE,
Yeah.
health safety environment. Is there any such kind of thing in our nation that the government?
No,
is
basically what is OSHA?
providing?
OSHA is just like our Directorate of Factories. OSHA is a regulatory authority in US
Yeah.
which looks after safety and health. But in US there is a single body which looks after all kinds of safety and health in all kinds of occupations. Here there is a Directorate of Factories separate, Director General of Mine Safety is separate, then Directorate of Railway Security is separate, Director General Civil Aviation is separate, all are looking after safety and health. But different bodies for different professions or different kinds of occupation. In US there is only a single body, that is OSHA. That is basically just we are doing for the mines, they are doing for the factories and all other kinds of occupation. For mines, they also have a separate body in US that is called MSHA, Mines and Safety Health Administration. But only for mines they have separate, but for all other kind of occupations, starting from hotel to road and road safety to building construction, to factories, to chemical industries, everything for they've got a single body that is called OSHA. That is basically statutory authority. They inspect the mine, they inspect the premise. For violation, they penalize, they prosecute the employer. Similar to what we do in our country for the mines, or Directorate of Factory does for the factories. So in India, problem is that the laws are too many laws, too many departments to enforce the law. Sometimes there is overlapping of enforcement. Sometimes there is confusion regarding the authority of a department. For example, regarding the safety and health in the mines only, sometimes Pollution Control Board comes into picture. Sometimes Indian Bureau of Mines, who is basically mandated to look after the conservation of mineral part, they comes into picture. Sometimes we come into picture, and sometimes there are associated industries attached to the mines. For example, for coal mines there is a coal crushing unit, coal screening unit. Then for iron ore mine there is iron ore pellet making industry. There who will enforce? Whether the Directorate of Factory will enforce, we will enforce, or somebody else will enforce. There is a big confusion. Those things are not there in developing countries. That the laws are very simple. Laws are complete, conspicuous, and enforcement authority is also very clearly specified. There is no overlapping, no confusion, and not many agencies.
प्राइवेट सेक्टर्स में जो गवर्नमेंट्स की जो स्कीम्स है जो बेनिफिट्स है सर, जैसा कि हम ऑर्गेनाइजेशन गैलेक्सी हेल्थ सेंटर तो गवर्नमेंट से कुछ ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट्स है जो एनजीओस को या प्राइवेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को कुछ डेवलपमेंट्स के लिए
If some organization is really doing something for the society and on a non-profitable basis, then it is supported by the government sometimes. But you have to ensure it is for non-profitable basis, not for making profit, number one. And number two, exclusively for the benefits of the downtrodden in the society, who are, for example, contractual workers. They are hardly paid anything. They hardly have got any healthcare facility. They hardly have got any incentives. They are basically the exploited group of the society. So the NGOs and sometimes some healthcare providers also, so working for that particular sections, are supported and promoted by government. There are schemes from the Ministry of Labour itself.
Message from your side to the 99 TV viewers on health and safety.
See, only message I can give is that people should think health at their highest priority at all levels. Though health is not a visible subject, it is totally invisible, but it is highly important. Once somebody is healthy, then only he can exist in a society, in a country, or his existence is justified. Unless he is healthy, his existence cannot be justified. And as far as workers' health is concerned, I think people should be more aware regarding the workers' health, because workers are our greatest asset. Machines we can buy, we can sell, we can do away with, but workers we can neither get nor we can dispose of it. They are our greatest asset. They are only moving our industry, our economy, our nation as a whole. Workers' health should be given the highest priority by any sections of the society, whether it is society, NGO or the government.
This channel is specifically working on education and health. So your golden words for the channel about the initiative taken by the channel.
Yes, I think there is a very good initiative. There are hardly first time I am coming across any channel who is exclusively taking care of the health and educational issues. This kind of initiatives are really required in our country. Most of the channels are only for profit making and for soap operas, for just entertaining people and making profit out of it. Okay, those things are also maybe important, but there are very few channels who are taking care of such important issues and neglected issues like safety, health and education. So I wish all my best, and I think whatever possible at my end I will try to do for promotion of this channel in future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.